Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Woo-hoo.
So if anybody has any good things that they're going to be doing on Valentine's Day, let us know. It's always nice to be able to do this manufactured holiday of the United States. I do want to give a shout out to Kansas City. A heck of a game the other day. I know folks from Philadelphia hate referees more than others right now. So that is the way that it is. And Raphael provided us with the picture of the day. And I'm just going to let this populate for just a minute. Just let this marinate. That's what I'm talking about. Green vehicles, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm selling them. Green vehicle.
So there you go. That is one reason that would absolutely that you should positively get yourself a green vehicle.
That's it. I'll paint them for you.
At least the color green. That's right. Hey, any company can have a green vehicle. Any person. So the question of the day, we'll do this. I already got a bunch of them that came in from you guys as you came in. If you did not fill this out, let me know. First of all, in the chat, pop in. Oh, did I do the chat thing right? Hold on. Everybody can. There we go. I think I did it now. Everybody can do it. So there goes everyone. All right, there you go. So here what we're doing is, what is your one word for the federal government? In the chat. One word for the federal government. What is your one word for doing business with the federal government? Or you can talk about what it is and what it means, and we'll talk about it right now. While we're here, we're at $340 billion that's spent. We have 1.26 trillion. That's with a T. I don't know what you do with that. Now, billion is this, right, Rafa?
Yeah.
That's billion. What do you do for trillion?
Trillion is like this.
Trillion. That's right. So, yeah. But we have 1.26 trillion left. That's 79% that has to be spent. What are we talking about that for, Greg Clark? Why is this such a big issue, Greg Clark?
Why is spending billions?
Yeah. Why does it have to happen? Why do we have to spend it? And when does it have to be spent by?
Yeah, you have to fulfill your budget. Otherwise, you don't get it next year.
That's right. All $1.6 trillion of it. So what that looks like, folks, is if you take a look, this is available on Sam Radar. You can go to menu, then resources, go to samradar.com, and you can download this. It's a report talking about competition and whether or not you're on the short list. Because guess what? The vast majority of the contracts are shortlisted. Number one. So we got difficult. Rosalind's got difficult in there. Frustrating. Help, Lorna says. Complicated, bunch of complicateds. I love it. Overwhelming. That's another one. Big sigh, no words. Mediocre. I love it. So, but this is the reason why we're here. If we take a look at this bottom thing where it says only 1.8% have hit SAM.gov to date. So if you're relying only on SAM.gov for your access to the market, you're missing 98% of the market plus. Just saying. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on Sam Radar if you want to stick around. So now what? What are we going to be doing? We want to get ourselves positioned. Why? Because we're in Q2 of fiscal year, and participating here is easy for those folks who've never been before. You can just pop things in the chat where we share links and docs. If you have questions, because how many folks? We got 76 people. That's good. So any questions, if you would just remember, questions, raise your hand. Put it in the Q&A. We'll make sure we do that. I got a quick disclaimer. You're not going to believe this, Rafael Marrero, but for the disclaimer, it's not affiliated or endorsed by GSA or any other agency for that matter. Participation does not guarantee an award. There was somebody that asked that on the way in, saying this is the best briefing ever if I got a contract. We don't award contracts. Greg Clark, do we award contracts here?
We do not.
We do not. We don't have the ability. You know why? Because we're not federal decision makers. But we do know how to get to those folks, right? And for any govies that are here, we love govies. If you want to participate with us, GSA gave this to us so that you can participate because it's voluntary and it's not an endorsement to purchase from anybody, especially not Julie Branson. Doesn't give you any anything. You're not going to be purchased from any vendor that's here because we got a bunch of vendors here, but this gives you the ability to do that. What we will do today is we'll connect you with experts. We will be discussing what works and highlighting the sponsors and partners. And if you don't like that, remember how much you paid for this. So we do this because you need help. And there's folks here that have different lanes that we operate in. We have different expertise. We appreciate you guys joining us today. So the poll of the day so far, the first question is, why are you here today? Are you new to federal contracting? You have federal contracts as a sub, but you want to win. Maybe you're one of the 116,501 prime winners in 2022 and you want to grow. Or some nut sent you an email and then let us know if you've been here before. We always love to welcome folks that have been here, and we love to welcome you guys back in the session docs. Zachary, did you pop that in the session docs for me?
Some nut sent me an email.
Did you get them in there? All right, fantastic. Session docs will be in the chat. So you'll have access to the winnable opportunity matrix, 90-second challenge, all the stuff that you can possibly want. So what's your one word for the federal market? Let's go back here and let's see what we got. Let me start from the bottom and I'll work my way back up. Incomprehensible from Sally. That's a big word. Sally's got the biggest word. Time consuming, inefficient, says Rafa. Difficult, frustrating. Let's see. Complicated from Carolyn and Reginald. Let's see. Paula, overwhelming. Cameras on. It's a big sigh. No words. Love it. Opportunity. Daniel. Mediocre. Tammy. Complicated from Jay Talbot. Hey, Jay Talbot. Good to see you, man. Cecilia James. Difficult. Susan. Frustrating. Partner. Whoa, that's a good one. Bart Carlson. That's awesome. Complex from Brian. Frustrating. Andrea. I agree with all those things. Anybody else got any? Inconceivable. Inconceivable from Michael Kahn. All right. Will there be a recording of this session? Yes, Eric Lucas, we are recording this session, believe it or not. We may delete it depending on how good it is. but here we go. Here's some one-word descriptions. A lot of people that are in line with this when we were doing this. Complicated, frustration, opportunity. That's a good word. World's biggest market. Amazed, buyers. Like that. Complex, frivolous. How you like that one? That's another good word, Sally. We don't use every day. Frivolous.
I like that word.
I like inconceivable. That's my favorite so far. That's my favorite. Inconceivable. Chaos. Love that. Corrupt. Ooh, Chris. Ooh. Going dark on us. Ooh. Chris is going dark.
Super dark.
Fair. I love this. A train wreck. How about that?
Wow.
How about that? Obtuse. Amazing, great, unique, you organized, bloated, confusing.
We should make a Wordle. Dave, we should make a Wordle.
It is, we should. So look at this one here. I got something to point out real quick. First of all, this one says fair. I don't know who said that. I have to look that one up. That's an interesting one because we got this one here, unfair. So we already in conflict with ourselves here today. Byzantine rules. When was the last time you used the word Byzantine? I know Julie probably used it 4 times yesterday because she's a speech writer and she looks for words like that. Byzantine rules, disorganized, messy, sensational, utilitarian. That's another big word, man. All kind of good words. Good, busy, inefficient, impenetrable. Ooh, how about that? I like that one. That's I went backwards. So impenetrable. That's my favorite so far. Yep. Untapped, difficult, intricate, bureaucratic. No way. Necessary, potential, lazy. Going on that. There you go. And Chris is the corrupt one. He says only the facts all the time. My man, Chris. All right. So he also asked this will be the best webinar ever if, and I know Helene from Coast to Coast. She's a Sam Radar user. I know that for a fact. I can learn how to win more federal business. We love Helene. She participates in our Monday roundtables as well. Andrea from Advanced Decision Vectors. I would learn 3 things. Just 3, Rafa. Not 4, not 5, but 3 things. Learn 3 things. I'm sorry, Andrea. I'm just busting on you. That I didn't know when I started. We definitely want to help you out with that. Jack from Lancer Information Solutions. We can get actionable insights to enhance our business. I love that. That's my favorite word, is actionable. We're going to be talking about action items today. Look at this. Edward's got the same thing. Actionable roadmap is presented from Edward from Orbis Novitas. Is that how we say it? Orbis Novitas Solutions. And again, he's got the actionable word. Love that. And Brian from Onida Solutions Group. I learned a new resource for contracts. Absolutely going to do that. And Stephen from Billy Edward Consulting. You team and provide attendees a way forward to win a federal contract. Interesting word there. I like that, the team, and I also like the way forward. We've got a bunch of folks that were saying, hey, we want to move forward. We want a way to be able to get there into the market. And guess what? You're not going to believe this, Sally White. That's exactly why we're here,
Woohoo.
believe it or not. So on the hot seat today, we got Rafa, we got Greg, and we got Julie, and we got me. And the questions of the day. So you didn't even know these questions coming in. Why is the government so complicated? And how do you get moving in the right direction? So get yourself ready for that. How can you simplify your business development process? And what actionable steps, again, actionable, can I take today to move forward in the federal market? All the right direction. So that's what we're going to get to. I'm going to do some introductions now. If you have any other questions that you would like, entries, yep, just 3. Let me end this poll. I'm sorry. Let's see what we got here, guys. While we're here, we have half the people almost are new to federal contracting. Awesome. Welcome to the party, pals. And let's see, have federal contract, 16% are subs. And some of the folks were winners. Look at that. Almost a third, just over a quarter were winners. And some nut sent you an email. And we got a bunch of folks that are back and we appreciate you guys. Welcome aboard. For those of you who are brand new, buckle up, because that's the way we operate. Don't we, Julie Branson? We don't mess around here, do we?
Sometimes, but
all right, real quick about me. I'm a sales guy. I'm a federal sales guy. Got into this back in 2009. I started ISI Federal. I was actually starting in 2007. Since then, I have over $500 million in direct and indirect federal sales, and that is growing because we have ways to be able to help you get smart in the marketplace. That's our market intelligence. We use GovBrief to reach stakeholders. In fact, we have briefings coming up this week. I will be here on Thursday with VA and FEMA, both days, both of those in the same day, actually. And we're also doing sole source justification. I think that's next week. We do SAM.gov tutorials, FAR crash course with Brian Hebel, doing business with the National Guard's coming with Tricia Callahan. Saving your GSA from cancellation is only for GSA schedule holders. And then doing business with HHS with Brian Hebel, because he's from CMS and knows a little bit about that. So that's for industry. If you're interested in learning about any of those, you can pop in on govbrief.us and see that. Interagency briefings, where we're pushing out, like I said, we market out to the federal decision makers and reaching program managers. It's the only way we know how to do this. Tomorrow, we have Chat, CPT, and AI. That's a hot item. Could you get a more hot item, Rafael Marrero? Then Chat
Green vehicles.
CPT. Unbelievable. It's crazy. So anyway, we will be talking about that. The guy there is not the guy that's going to be presenting. That's actually going to be Divine, but that's the quote there comes from Alberto Lugo from Invid, one of my buddies in Puerto Rico, who also is probably wearing a flannel shirt like Rafael Marrero. Apparently 59 degrees isn't hot enough for the people there. So, but if you want to get in on this, we're booked up for now, but you can contact us if you would like to reach out to program managers. So the next question I have is, who does you want to reach? Let me see if I can find that. Let's see. Who do you want to reach? There we go. There it is. Do you want to reach federal buyers? Do you want to reach program managers? Do you want to reach prime contract holders so you can sub, or prime contract holders so you can sell to them? Federal employees so you can sell them, or small business specialists, because we can help you with those things. While I'm talking a little bit about the things on ISI Federal, samradar.com, we're not going to go too deep into that right now because that is a game changer. We're going to be talking about that throughout this. Sam.bid monitors sam.gov. and Quick Fuse monitors GSA e-buy. And if you have a GSA contract, we can help you market directly to GSA Advantage. And we also have with us the doctor. The good doctor's in the house, Dr. Rafael Marrero in his flannel hunting outfit because he's sitting in his cabin in Miami. There he is. You're mutified, man. You're saying things that are brilliant. So what do you do for federal contractors real quick? You're going to be featured today, so you don't go too deep.
Yeah. So, well, first, that's the wrong brand. We recently rebranded. Yeah, no, that's so we're doing away with the old look. But what my firm does is we help contractors market to the large private sector and to government.
Is this the new brand here?
Yeah. I sent you the updated slides with everything.
Okay, well, I missed that.
Yeah, no worries. So what we work with is we help government contractors on the large private sector and with all levels of state, local, and federal government market their abilities and brand their capabilities, right? I'm a former C-level procurement executive. I know exactly what to look for because I'm an expert in vendor management and supply chain. So I look at materials and tell you exactly from a practical standpoint, what should be featured on there and how to get your value proposition across to the folks sitting across the other side of the table.
And this has to do with capability statements, because if you're not looking like you belong, you don't belong.
Yep.
Just saying.
That's right. So it's, we put these memes out there in LinkedIn, and we did one on capabilities briefings, capability statements, and small business concerns with a little bit of humor. But these are our core services. So we design from scratch capability statements. We do capabilities videos produced in-house here in the States, capabilities websites that communicate the essential elements of information in the right tab, the right drop-down menus, and we've done hundreds of these capabilities briefings so that when you get a meeting with your OSDBU program manager, et cetera, you know exactly what to show them, what to say, and the business cards, the way they should look and feel, along with other marketing materials and the information you need to have on there.
I love that. I love and so most marketing people, if you do the business cards this way, it makes their head explode. But it's exactly what buyers are looking for. And believe it or not, we're going to get back to human interaction, right, Rafa?
That's right. That's right. Contrary to popular belief, we're not going to stay working from home or out of the office all the time.
That's right.
So,
I want to actually see you in the flesh in a flannel shirt. That is absolutely insane.
I'll wear my flip-flops for you.
That's right. Yeah, you tell me you had to put socks on with your flip-flops apparently this morning, right? Jeez. All right. Also with us, we have Greg Clark from DK and Associates, DKA. Tell us a little bit about you, Greg. You're going to be hot seat too, so don't go too deep.
Before I talk about us, I got to say that Rafael's talking about his rebranding. It's a total rebranding and not just his company, because you saw how slick he looked in the old picture, and now he's in the flannel shirt. Well, he treated me to lunch a few weeks ago. And in addition to the flannel shirt, there were boots and a cowboy hat.
He's after the country bumpkin federal paper. Too much. All right, Greg, tell us about proposal writing, because you love paperwork. I hate paperwork. That's why you're here.
Do stuff that nobody else wants to do. So yeah, we've been in business since 1995, helping companies put proposals together for federal contracts, also state and municipal contracts. And we also provide GSA schedule support and other contract vehicles. OASIS is one. What did we talk about yesterday? T4NG2, the VA IT contract vehicle that's coming out. So all that paperwork and everything else we do is in support of those areas: proposal writing, contract vehicles, GSA schedule being the granddaddy of them all, right?
Right on. And I'll tell you what, I always love when Greg is working on something, because I know he's in a lane. We talked about OASIS a little bit yesterday. Was it yesterday? Good grief.
Yeah.
As well as and that VA is for IT, right? One that. And you're looking for teaming partners yet, or is it still?
I was contacted by somebody yesterday who they had a relationship with a proposal writer, and that person disappeared on them. So he's kind of scrambling because this is supposed to be issued. It's in draft form now, the T4 NG2, and it's in draft form now, but it's supposed to be issued very soon. So they're trying to find a new proposal company, and now they have.
I like it. So if you're interested in that, reach out to Greg. We'll give you a way to do that too. Julie Branson is new on the hot seat. The reason she's here, and I made this up for you. Hopefully I did okay. Did I do okay, Julie? Speech writing, speaking coach.
Yes.
I know you're doing speaking coaching because she's my speaking coach for an upcoming event that's coming up, and does event consultations because she helps to assemble. One of the things I've learned from Julie, by the way, as I'm introducing her, is that when I'm up in front of a crowd, and I'm very introverted, as everybody knows, right, Greg? I know, and Sally's been telling me I have to come out of my shell too. So, but it is the bookends, right? The ones that are coming before you and after. So that's one of the things. So you're gonna be in a hot seat today because you did a briefing on what last week, Julie?
Getting your congressman and congressional group, actually, getting your congressional people to back you up and they can write letters of support. They're really letters of, they ask that you have a full and fair consideration is basically what they write in the letter. But working with people to reach out to their members, because I used to work for a member and we had these calls all the time, and I'm always surprised when I find out people don't know that they can call their members, and it's your member of Congress, your senators, and it's your entire footprint. You know, it's not just where you live and work. There's other ways to bring them and motivate them to reach out and send these letters when you're doing grants or contracts or anything like that. So, so I help with how do you reach out to them? How do you develop their relationship? What to expect, what they can do, can't do, things like that.
I love it. And you did a great job, by the way.
Thanks.
And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that you can actually reach out to your Congress people to help, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
there's a lot of ways to build that relationship. It's just important for them to know who you are and what you're doing. And we go into detail about that specific to your specific delegation, congressional delegation.
Love it. So we're going to put her on the hot seat for the first time in this thing today. And also not on the hot seat, but also with us today, we have the amazing, the incredible, the talented Sally White from Echo Wolf Solutions. So
I'm wearing my I love Sad Radar heart. Hear about a bit. So basically, I'm a connector. I start with business strategy, making sure you have a business strategy, and then of course branding. And Raphael, Dr. Marrero, is in the Wolf Pack, and he works with a lot of my clients to make sure that they're on brand. Once they're on brand, they have their branding logo, etc. I help them make sure that your LinkedIn page, your website, everything is presentable so that when I and others then introduce you to those influencers, key decision makers to help you get that contract with the government of the prime, you're ready for that. And then finally, really help to level up technology, make sure you're amplifying what you do best, so you can utilize technology like ChatGPT, which I highly encourage you to attend the session. So super excited to be here, and I put my information in the chat. Happy to get on a call and give you lots of free advice as a result of being a friend of Dave's. You're a friend of mine.
Love it. Love it. Sally's also great. I don't see Peter here today. Is Peter in today?
Peter's actually at the A-Day conference. He sends his very best. Peter's the guy where if you get your $1 million contract or wondering how to do payroll, how to make payroll, people lend to the opportunity. He's also a consultant, been in business for years and years. He's happy to get on the call with you as well. So he sends his.
Right on. And is Irene Irene's not with us either, right, Rafa?
No, she's not on there today. She's going to be on all the videos going forward, the webinars. She had a doctor's appointment today, so she.
What a sorry excuse. Tell her. That's sorry.
Right.
Healthcare overrated. All right. So, but Irene helps with certifications. That's what you used to do, and then you wound up teaming up with GPS, right? That's what you did, Rafa?
That's correct. She was actually a senior analyst for my firm. She was trained by us. Great, talented gal. She handles everything that's paperwork related, which we did for years. She does federal, state, and local and private sector certifications, and also vendor pre-qualifications, Dave. So think of that as a SAM for the private sector. If you're doing underground construction, fiber optics, and all that, you have to get registered and approved by this very difficult portal called PICS and others, right? So she does that. She starts new companies and also gets you set up as a nonprofit. Very talented, former Department of Justice officer, law enforcement officer, and is about to earn her certified fraud examiner credential. So very detail oriented, a very sharp gal. She's our proud go-to partner when it comes to certifications, registrations, and all types of certs and documentation.
Love it. And so I appreciate her. I just want to make sure if you need certifications, you reach out to Irene. Brian Hebel's a loser. He's not here today either. But that's okay. I don't know whether he has a doctor's appointment or something more important he thinks is more important. But well, I team up with Brian on a regular basis. Acquisitionhelp.com. If you're if you look at the maturity model for the federal world, I kind of span across all the channels a little bit more weighted towards the front end, like Raphael is on the front end with getting prepared and having capabilities. I'm in the sales side all the way through. He's on the final end of that where he's in procurement. Obviously he can help with those pieces too. He was with a contractor. He was a contracting officer with CMS. So, but you can reach out to him on acquisitionhelp.com. One of the things we will be talking about is SAM Radar today as we get going and being shortlisted, because guess what? As I mentioned earlier, almost all of the contracts are happening between 5 or fewer companies, almost all. So there you go. So the hot seat question number 1 is, why is the government so doggone complicated, and how do you get moving in the right direction? Rafa, you're up first. How does that work, right? So I'm going to go back to the question so that you know what it is. Why is the government so complicated? And how do you get moving in the right direction? A lot of folks said complicated. So tell us about the complications.
Yeah. So speaking as someone who works with supply chains, right? You have a supply chain organization in the General Services Administration, but purchasing is decentralized, right? So you've got hundreds of clients throughout the United States, right? And each have different sets of requirements. And some, although they abide to small business set aside rules and all that. For example, the United States Postal Service does not require you. They have their own certification process. So it's a district and not a centralized mode of, and standardized, I should say, not decentralized. There is a lack of decentralization on the purchasing end and requirements gathering side. And there's different processes throughout the entire country. So they don't use the same contracting vehicles. They don't use the same rules. And it's really confusing because some people think that you sign up in SAM, good luck with that. And then it's raining, it's like, or you get a certification and just, money just starts raining from heaven, right? That's not the way it works. So you've got to learn the lingo. You've got to learn the lay of the land. You've got to know how to market and present yourself. And you've got to know who to touch base with and who to introduce yourself to. That's what Dave and all the other members of this team do. My part is making sure that you are registered appropriately, that you look your best, okay? Not that you fake it till you make it, but that you communicate your true capabilities in the correct manner. That's what we do. We help with contractor capabilities marketing. And it's important that all of you get that across your head, because all marketing is not created equal. It's different in the private sector. I know because I'm a Fortune 500 procurement executive. I did this for a living for very large supply chains. And I've done so in the government sector.
Very large supply chains that may or may not have resembled a fruit company.
Just saying, a couple of billion a year in procurement, direct and indirect. So I know a thing or two about it, and I know how to position for, differentiate, and how to communicate that value proposition, because I always put on my procurement cap when I'm working with my clients.
So what you're saying is look like you belong, right? So we talked about that a little bit earlier, and then getting moving in the right direction. So it's complicated because there's a lot of different vehicles, right? And one of the and Greg Clark, you still here, man? Greg's here. He helps
Bruce
with.
Willis? Yeah.
Did he lose? We lose Greg? All right. Well, if Greg,
Can you hear me?
there he is.
I
There?
lost internet for a second, but I need you to allow me to start my video.
Oh man, high maintenance freaking people. I'm telling you, man, it's always something. right here.
Yesterday-
You were getting really
Yesterday
whiny
he
in
was
your old
closing
age,
a
you know
$1
that?
billion deal. Like yesterday was closing $1 billion deal. Today it's the website. What will it be now?
So there, what you got, Greg? You got internet issues, man. You dropped out yesterday, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Um,
So let's talk about one of the things that Raphael mentioned is a lot of different vehicles. Right? What does that mean? What is a vehicle?
well, I was thinking about it yesterday because we were talking about that in the roundtable. And when I got started doing this in '94, there weren't really any. I mean, everything was a single contract, right? And that's the way it was done. And everything just came out as one contract, and you bid on it, and there was a winner, and that's it. And now it's all about getting on MATOCs, multiple award task order contracts, and indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts, and all contract vehicles. Every agency wants to create this pool of contractors through a contract vehicle where they put out a solicitation and everybody puts in submits their qualifications, and then the agency chooses this pool of the most highly qualified companies based upon their criteria they've set out. And now they have this pool of companies for 5, 10, 15 years, and they will issue task orders to them and let them compete for the individual work in whatever industry it is.
So that means that there's out of everybody, they go out to everybody, or theoretically everybody, right? They go out to everybody and say, hey, we want to do this, like you mentioned, this VA, what is it called?
T4NG2.
T4NG2. So there was already a T4NG1, and that one has come to conclusion. They're going to do an on-ramp. It's kind of on-ramping, right? So there's a huge group of people that goes out to, they narrow that down to a few, or it could be even a couple of hundred even, right? It can be hundreds, but in most instances, it's down to a dozen or two. And then those people are the only ones that get to compete for the task orders after that, right?
Yeah, and in the case of this IT services contract vehicle that the VA is doing, there's going to be 30 companies, 15 are going to be large businesses, and 15 are going to be SDVOSBs. So if you're going to get on that, you're going to be one of the 15 most highly qualified SDVOSBs that are out there. There's going to be hundreds of companies that come in on this. 15 get on it, and they're going to be available to then bid on these task orders that the rest of us aren't even going to see. When you talk about opportunities, that's why the number of opportunities are shrinking, because you get on task on these contract vehicles, and then the task orders come out, and it's just issued to the companies that are on it. So the rest of the companies out there don't even see all these opportunities because they're being competed on contract vehicles and multiple award task order contracts. So go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's one of the reasons why it gets restricted. You don't even get a chance to be able to play, and why it's so important to create teaming partners, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why we get calls a lot, and that's how I get notified. If I haven't found out and I'm not tracking an opportunity, I'll get a call from somebody. You're doing a project with Divine, Harold and Paul and Matt, I'll get a call from them saying, this is coming up, and we need somebody in this field, because they know we've worked with hundreds of contractors in 28 years. So they need somebody with a certain set of experience and capabilities to round out their team and fill a hole in the performance areas that they don't have with their team as it stands at that point.
And this is really important. If you want, looking like you belong is also part of that with not saying you do everything IT, right? Because it's impossible. Nobody does everything. So don't be looking, say, hey, we do anything IT. they're going to throw the flag on that every single time, right? Right, Greg? They look for what is your lane, what's your niche, and how do you, and if you don't have a team, where do you fit in a team? Maybe they can help you associate with that. But most of the time, it's on you to be able to create those teams, right?
Yeah, because the government is not going to say, what can you do? They're going to say, show me what you've done. So that's why I say experience and capabilities. That's all you are as a company, as far as the government's concerned. What's your experience and what are your capabilities? What do you have as far as talent on your team, experience, the capabilities that you have? That's all you are.
Yep, I love that. And Julie Branson, I got you here for this one is because you happen to be a woman-owned small business as well. You are trying to sell to the government and working your angles to get in. So it's what makes it complicated for you? And what are you doing to minimize that complication?
Well, it's complicated. No, so a lot of times they'll say that they want a woman-owned small business, but then they put in a characteristic or a requirement that knocks me out. So for example, one time there was one, which is rare for speech writing. There was one that they wanted a year's worth of speeches because they were putting out a new program, right? So there was a year's worth of speeches. They wanted stump speeches and stuff. And you were writing 10 speeches for that year. And they said must have written a total of 50 speeches the prior year. And I was like, 50, one person, right? 50, and you have to have had like 10 clients. So it's not even like taking the same speech and changing it for the audience or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how does a small business do 50 speeches to 10 clients in 1 year? Like that's a big company, you know? So I had to reach out to them and say, you know, I'm happy to do this. I've written for Secretary of Defense during a time of war. I've written for the Secretary of Transportation right after 9/11. Like I've written voluminously and under pressure, but I've never written 50 speeches for 10 people, you know? So you had to go back and kind of explain what your business is, you know, and they ask for certifications that don't really exist in my world. You know, like somebody will just say, there's some groups that just say, we'll certify you.
So
it's not a certification. So you have to educate them on what that means.
Oh, I love that. First of all, one thing is, hey, here's what you're asking for. I'm not really sure that that's really what you want. Somebody's feeding them that information, right, Julie? Somebody gave them that. Somebody said that this certification is important, and it wasn't you that did it. It was somebody else that did it, which opens up the what it is that we really need to be doing. I love what you just said. You got to get out and tell them and evangelize yourself broadly, but really get into the dialogue with the buyers and the program people for that matter. But you got to have that dialogue, and that's what's important with that. So
right. And how they just determine how they describe terms. They don't understand the industry a lot of times. So for example, I brought this up before where the state of South Carolina was saying, we want to have these different services hourly. And one of them was ad buys. Well, nobody does ad buys hourly. It's % of the ad budget, right? And so we had to say, well, that one can't be hourly. Like nobody in that industry ever charges hourly, you know? So they had to go back and resubmit it. They did resubmit it.
Resubmit. So they take our information and then they don't always take our information, right? Maybe they already have somebody in mind that they want to give it to, but it's our job to be proactive, to reach out to the key decision makers and help educate them on the environment because they are buyers. They're not the users, right, Julie?
Right.
So I'm going to put myself on a hot seat for just a minute on this one, because using everything that you just talked about between Raphael, so Raphael say, hey, make sure you're looking like you belong. And oh, by the way, your past performance is the most important thing in your life, right, Greg?
Yep.
That's how they view you, is they view you with past performance. And it doesn't have to be government past performance per se, although a lot of times that's what they're looking for, right, Greg?
Yeah, that's what Eric was just asking. Does it have to be federal experience? Well, each solicitation will be different, and the solicitation will explain what the past performance requirements are. Some may be only federal, some may be only within that agency that's putting out the solicitation, and it may be a minimum of X dollars per year that would be that would meet the requirement.
And so that getting exactly that. So the past performance may need to be federal, in which case then you're going to need to team with somebody so that you can start to gain that federal past performance. And all of that revolves around understanding who these people are and the stakeholders. So for the folks that are new, especially, I wanted to lay out who these stakeholders are, because guess what? They all have different ways of making decisions and the reasons why that they make the decisions. So if you look at the politicals and the senior people, so the political appointees all the way at the top, the secretaries, deputy secretaries, all those folks that get appointed, right? And then you have your SESs, your senior bureaucrats, and then it divides. And you have your program people and you have your procurement people. So really, really important as you're doing your business pursuits, the program people care about getting the job done. How good are you at what you do? That's the program side of the house. That's what they want to know. The procurement people care about getting the contract done. They care about your socioeconomic certifications, the vehicle that you're going to be using, if they have a vehicle that they already like, kind of things. This is one of the things we've been pushing in the Monday roundtables. You might be asking, what are Monday roundtables? Tell you what, sign up for Sam Radar, get into Monday roundtables for free. It's way too cool to not be involved in that. That's all I got to say. So anyhow, what we do here is we say, all right, you have a need this is coming from getting a job done. They have a job that needs to be done. They throw it over the fence to procurement. And that is why we laid this out in the winnable opportunity matrix, right? You have your program people. That's what the PM stands for. Your program person throws it over the fence to your contracting officers. And that is what creates the opportunity. Notice this. These are two different people. If you pitch the buyer on how great you are on whatever your IT solutions are and your bits and bytes and all the kind of things that you do, it's like, want, Charlie Brown. They don't care about that. They care about your contract vehicle. And if you don't have one, that means you need to be able to get one. And that's what a GSA contract is, right, Greg? And we're not going to go too much detail on that, but just know that's one of the contract vehicles. But you also have IDIQs, like you mentioned, and MATOCs and BPAs and all those things. And yes, you can influence those exactly the way Julie was talking about. Somebody else has their fingerprints on them because they took that information from somebody. That somebody needs to be you. You need to be proactive. You need to get out and dialogue with the federal decision makers. You are the one that has to come up with your plan. Otherwise, if you're waiting for the RFP to hit the street, can everybody just say all at once? If you wait for it to hit the street, it is what?
Gone.
Too freaking late.
It's gone.
It's done.
What are you talking about?
What's
What are you
that?
talking about?
Oh, whatever. Now this guy,
No. Listen, he has a point.
he does have
The
a problem. Go ahead.
The problem is you need to have someone in your corner like Greg. But what Dave's point is very, very important as well, too. You need to do work. You need to do your ad bond work and your work ahead of the curve so that when it lands on when you're notified of that solicitation, your guy like Greg knows exactly what to say. But in all fairness, situation awareness is everything. And if you don't occupy a mental rung in someone's little battlefield, which is this right here, right? If you're not important to them, chances are you're not going to stand out in that pile of papers they get, right?
You got that right.
It's kind of a two-way scenario. You need a skilled tactician and a strategist to help you put together the right proposal and win based on pricing and past performance, right? And that's important. So I must say that, but you also need to the game. And that's why all the people on this call are so important.
I agree.
But let
All right.
me just close it out with this. Yes, you want to know as early as possible about an opportunity, and anything you can do to shape that opportunity helps you, right? But you're not always going to have an opportunity to know about it well in advance, and you're not going to have an opportunity. You may not have a relationship, may not be able to develop a relationship with the agency prior to it being announced. And that you just need to you need to respond to the solicitation. You need to evaluate the performance requirements and the proposal requirements and the evaluation criteria and put it together. And you can do it that way. You don't have to always have a relationship with the agency in advance. You don't have to, if once it comes out, it's not necessarily already determined who. And I have 407 contracts that I've helped my clients win with a combined value in excess of $2 billion that says otherwise.
I know, and this is what I love about Greg. Because and we don't always agree. We both have different approaches, and yet we both have the ability. We both have the ability to win. I appreciate it, Greg. Thanks for setting me straight there, big man.
You cheat, and I don't cheat. You get the contract served up. You get the contract served up to your clients on the silver platter. I got to go to battle every day.
I'll take that. I'll take that as a completely unfair advantage that we helped to develop. All right. So,
yes.
Hot seat question number 2. How can you simplify your federal business development? Go ahead, Rafa, you're up first again. How do you
First and foremost, make it easy for your end client to do business with you.
Meaning, very
know
good.
exactly what to say, how to say it, and how to present it, and when to present it, right? Because to your point earlier, it's nice to get a capability statement, but if it's after the RFP or the RFQ or after the source is sought, chances are that procurement strategy has already been decided upon. And that's what Dave was pointing to, right? When I sat there and I met a new entity and they pitched me on their capabilities, Dave.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to launch that.
So it was like great to meet someone new, but I had already done my sources sought, done my market analysis, figured out, how many veteran, how many women own, how many hub zone companies, whatever. And then you say, okay, I have 2 qualified parties, so I'm going to make this a small business solicitation. And then, okay, I have 2 qualified 8A firms or veteran-owned firms, but it's important to know this and to communicate this to them ahead of time.
Love it. Yeah. And what do you got, Greg? How do you simplify?
I missed the question.
No, man, not paying attention again.
The question.
How can you simplify your federal business development? How can these folks simplify?
I think you simplify it. I mean, that's the word right there. Make it simple. Just start. Have a conversation with an agency. Find an agency that's nearby and try to develop a relationship and figure out what that looks like and what's involved in it, in developing it, and what they want to talk about, what they want to know, the terminology and jargon they use, and then learn. Just give yourself an education by talking to somebody. So I think if you want to simplify it, what's more simple than just starting?
Oh, love that. And what I grasp about that is let the process teach you. Don't try to learn it all at once because it's way too complicated, right, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, what do you say all the time? You can't boil the ocean. Just start something. Start with one conversation, see where it goes, and then let that become your marketing plan. Let that build up, learn with this person, and then say, by the way, we're also interested in that region of your agency also. Do you know anybody over there? And make your friend introduce you to his friends, and you'll have an unending supply of leads if you're talking to one person in the government at a time.
I love that. I'm stealing that one. I love that a lot. All right, Julie, what do you think about that, and how do you simplify your approach?
Well, as you know, you have drummed into me that I should simplify my approach. So I'm slowly simplifying my approach. But what I've learned is that you give just a little bit of information at a time. And I don't mean that like a teaser, but like just giving them the information that they want so that you can start the conversation. Because one of the things that I did is when I first reached out, because I was using Sam Radar, I was sending all why I was qualified and what I did and, attachments, and I wasn't getting any response. And you should just hit click and say, I want to talk. I do something similar. I want to talk. I was like, that can't work. So I did it and it worked. And then, you know, so then I got on the call with the guy and I was like, okay, I'm all ready for all the questions he's going to ask. And he didn't ask a single question. He said, so what do you want? And I was like, so what do I want? Well, I just do this. And I stumbled over myself and I went back and he said, you should say, how do you want to buy?
Right.
And I was like, oh, you said that 100 times, but it didn't hit me till I got the guy on the phone. So I, you know, that's the next time I was like, okay, just hit, I want to talk. What do you want to say? How do you want to buy? You know, it's just, you have to get in the process. We tell you all these steps, but you have to get in the process to see what that means. And just being persistent about it, you know, but with each one, I just simplify, cut it to the chase. Who can I talk to until you find that person who is interested in everything you have to say, right? It's
Yep.
just, it's relationships and that baby step. Don't tell them everything. Don't hand them a novel, hand them the, you know, TikTok video.
That's right. It goes to boiling the ocean again, like Greg said.
Right.
Greg's full of great quotes today, by the way. I'm really impressed with you, Greg, because usually you're not paying attention. And I'll jump in on this one too, from the hot seat side, is that, and yes, Sam Radar. So what she was talking about is Sam Radar, and we'll talk about that just real briefly in a minute. The idea is saying, okay, who's the buyer that matters to me? And if they're swimming in my pool, what do I do to be able to reach out to them? And it isn't send them everything that you've ever done all the time. That is what an RFP is for in a response for an RFP. Your introduction is give them every reason to talk to you so that you can create that relationship and dialogue. And as Greg even went into the friend, you can build friends in this space. And that's in the winnable opportunity matrix, that's moving up in the green into your coaches and your champions. There are people that are willing to help, provided that you're not asking for crazy stuff. Like, hey, I pay your salary. I deserve to get this contract today because I pay your salary. Probably not the best approach,
No.
right? So with that, we will talk about this. And with Sam Radar, and what we're talking about is that dialogue, because everybody that is on the short list, anybody that's on the 5 or fewer, they've earned the right to be on the short list. They didn't just all of a sudden show up and, oh, by the way, Ralph, I just appreciate you calling me. I'm putting you on the short list. You're my new number one. No, that's not how life is. That's not how you do things. That's not how they do things. So let's be realistic of how we can get there. And I'm going to show you real quick what Sam Radar looks like. This is actually an award. Now, if you're playing in this space, and this happens to be for workplace self-advocacy pilot training. So this is a pilot for workplace self-advocacy, right? That's what it's for. Now, you might do workplace consulting in HR. You probably didn't see this. Why do I know? Because they only had one offer received, and it came from HRS Consulting. What are the chances that HRS knows Justin Cole, who's the buyer? I say pretty doggone good, since they just cashed a check for $18,630 that was not competed. When did it happen? It happened on February 1st. So you have a couple of different options here. You may want to reach out to Justin Cole, who's the buyer, which is what Julie was talking about. I just want to get in the conversation. What Greg was talking about. I want to get in a conversation with Justin Cole, because guess what I want to do? I want to drive a wedge right here between Justin and HRS Consulting. I compete with these guys. I want them out. I want to be in. Now, earning the right to be that person is all part of the relationship development process. It takes relationships. You can't just all of a sudden say, I deserve to be here, because the person that makes the determination of whether you deserve is right here. Your job, build the relationship with the key decision makers. Buyers are part of the equation, not the entire equation, but they're part of the equation. And you have the ability to reach out to Justin. And what Julie was saying is she clicks this button and it pops up and says, I want to talk with you about the award to HRS Consulting on the 2nd of February. That's all she wants. That's all you want. You don't have to complicate it. It's already simplified for you. Just do it. Because if you don't do it, what happens, Julie?
Nothing.
Nothing. Not a freaking thing happens. Because you already got no, by the way. What is the risk of reaching out to Justin? Nothing. You don't have any risk. So that's what we talk about. All right, any questions about that? Because that was we got into some of that, and we're going to get into, I don't know if anybody, let's see, Q&A. Here it.
Yeah.
Are you seeing CMMC certification requirements on contracts yet for FCI and CUI? Man, there's some acronyms I don't even know. What is that? Protecting FCI and CUI. Anonymous. I need a little more information on that.
Yeah,
CMMC
anonymous.
certification. I'm going to give that over to Greg because I know one answer is yes. I know yes. What do you think, Greg?
I'm still struggling with, is this federal correctional institutions?
So no.
I don't have
CMMC is
any.
capabilities maturity model.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was it CMMI?
No,
No,
CMMC.
FCI is what I was guessing about.
Yeah.
I can't answer that question.
I don't know what those two other acronyms are. And if you're
Yeah.
wondering if we
Yeah.
don't know everything here, you're
Yeah,
right.
Well, we don't even know the person's name. So
And they're anonymous.
boom, boom.
That's right. So I'm not, but the answer is yes. CMMC certifications are popping up, and you might be the reason why if you're telling them that's important. In fact, Julie mentioned it. It doesn't have to be a major one. It can be a minor one. All right. So we're looking for a service that will provide us with RFQ for plastic knobs. Ooh.
Ooh, that's good.
Very interesting. Years ago, we had a service that mailed RFQs on microfiche. That would be years
Wow.
ago, David.
Wow,
Wow.
Flashbacking.
years ago.
So the answer is Sam Radar and Sam.bid. There's two places that you'll find those answers. So samradar.com is a service it's a little bit better than that. It's going to get you noodled in. So David, you can check out samradar.com. How do I scale scales?
Sales.
So,
Oh, how do I scale sales? I have an FSS contract. I have 15 VAs buying or ought to in 10 VISNs. VISNs are VA stuff, Daniel, good stuff. Have an SDV OSB partner. So anybody want to jump in on that? I have my selfish answer for that because we can help with the marketing on that. That's mine. Anybody else want to talk about how they can
Oh, yeah.
scale?
mine would be to connect to various people in that group and then have them introduce you to others through LinkedIn,
Yeah.
through their own contact.
Oh, I got it.
Dave, I would
did
start
read
with a
that, Dave.
capabilities assessment. Seriously, like, contract readiness assessment, right? If you want to scale something out and you're wondering why am I not growing, you need to look at what you're doing, right? How many relationships am I building? How many times am I going out? Who am I reaching out to? Am I reaching out to the right people? And also, what do your materials say, right? So I would start at the very beginning with a capabilities assessment and contract readiness assessment to see what we're doing wrong. It's like going to the lab and ordering labs, right? Then from there, we can actually prescribe some intelligent recommendations. I'd be happy to give you a hand if you want to give us a call.
Absolutely. And then Andrea is saying back in the day, you could actually walk into government building. You had personnel there and between security concerns and COVID, obviously big problem. It's a much bigger challenge. No one answers the phone and everyone's voicemail is full. Sons of guns. Isn't that the truth? And how do you get to make the contact to develop the relationship? That is a key. And some of the simple things that we talked about that I'll drive you towards is Sam Radar, to actively going out after the buyer so they respond, because that's the biggest thing. You got to get them to respond to an email, and you can pick up the phone. And just because the voicemail's full doesn't mean you don't call them again. That's the other part I would say.
I was just thinking, David, when you looking at her frustration, what do most people do in response to that frustration? Give up, right?
That's right.
Don't be most people. Don't be most people.
Greg, full of it today, man. You are absolutely on point. So to your point, Greg, the number one reason people fail is they freaking give up. And so don't give up. and continue the process. And guess what? The incumbents want you to give up too, don't they?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, they do.
It's the same. It's the same thing I tell people. Like if a solicitation comes out with a short fuse, they call me. Yeah, we want to do this, but it was issued today and it's due in a week. I'm like, that's an opportunity, because most people are going to say, screw that, I can't do this in a week. So the time frame helps you by eliminating a lot of your competition, and then you're working with us so we can get things done that most people can't do anyway. So this is an opportunity. Just like most people would give up if those frustrations, all I call them, their voicemail's full.
And you just turned a challenge into an opportunity. And I couldn't agree more that when we're doing these things, we are in control and we have the ability to continue the process. And if we want to give up, was this too hard? And for some people, they don't have the resources for that, but that's why we have other folks here that can help with the resources to get you where you want to go, because you can't do it all. And to your point, the other thing that I would say in finding project managers, here's an example right now. I mentioned, and you mentioned this as well, Greg, with Divine is doing a briefing tomorrow on ChatGPT and AI happening tomorrow. We already have 130 program managers signed up. That's how you start that process. So you have the ability to reach out. It's all a proactive marketing, whether you're doing individually on Sam Radar and saying, okay, who's the project manager for that? That's one way to do it. And the other way is GovBrief, which is it's a much broader, who cares about what you sell kind of an approach.
Hey, that's a really good point. Like in here, we're meeting a lot of various people on a lot of the conferences like GovBrief and others. You can actually chat with individuals, or you can see who's speaking, and then you can send them a LinkedIn saying, I just heard you speak. I have about 4 or 5 conferences that I attended in the last couple of months, and I'm able to connect with super high level decision makers, influencers, only because they were on the meeting. And if you simply put a really short, succinct LinkedIn saying, hi, I heard you on this meeting and provide value, they will connect with you so that you have that connection. So when you're discovering the program managers and the contract managers that you'll find through Sam Radar, you have those 2 points of intersection coming together. Decision makers and influencers, contract program managers, and it increases your probability of getting to where you need to be.
I love it. And we're not going to get to the question number 3 because we are out of time. We want to get out of here with everybody else. But I will say this, if you need some help, if you need help to get signed up with Sam Radar so you can actually stalk the winners. I love that one, by the way. And talk with Rafa about looking like you belong. Explore a GSA contract with Greg. Use GovBrief, a complete federal strategy. You want to push hard. You want to talk to Peter about funding. You want to talk to Sally about networking. And you didn't make the grade here, Julie. I didn't get you on there. Sorry. But if you want to talk to Julie, I'll give you a place to talk to Julie in a minute. And then let us know what your federal budget is. And we're not doing that to shake you down. We're trying to figure out where you fit in the scheme of things. If you're mom and pop, that's okay. But if you're mom and pop, you can't go out after the $100 million contract. Can you, Greg Clark? Not as a direct.
No.
But you can be part
Even
of a
if you
team.
really, really, really want it.
Even if you really, 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 really want it.
Sally loves that. So, well, just one other thing. We talked about trying to develop a relationship, just cold calling. Another good way to get.
I gotta relaunch that poll. I'm sorry, but stop sharing. I need relaunch the poll.
While you're figuring that out.
Jeez.
While you're figuring that out, another good thing that I tell people to do who say, I've never worked with the government. How do I do it? Well, you try to develop a relationship with somebody and turn that into business. Also become a subcontractor, particularly if you're a subcontractor who's going to interact directly with the customer.
Yes.
You're going to develop a relationship that way. That's another great thing to do. Like the mom and pop on a $100 million contract. No, they can't be the prime, but they can be a sub. And they can develop a relationship that way and turn that into business down the road, become a sub that becomes a prime.
And what is more important to the prime than you going in? If you want this little piece, I only want this 3, 4, 10%. That's all I can handle is this little piece. I need you, big guy, to come in. I want to be your partner, but you maintain the relationship with the customer. Greg, you're on fire today, man. maintaining injecting yourself into the money flow and becoming and maintaining that relationship. Because guess what? If you come in as a sub to a prime that's on an existing contract, they may restrict you from talking to the customer directly because they don't want you mucking it up.
Right.
But if you're the one that brings you bring it to the prime, they want to talk to you. That is the number one thing they want is more business, just like you. And that is why we're on the other side of Sam Radar. If you want to stick around, we'll talk about it a little bit more. I'll show you a little bit more about Sam Radar. But at the end of the day, you want to be injected into that conversation. Man, you are on point, Greg.
Look at the Q&A, and while you read the first one to yourself. But I'm going to ask another question that's probably a Zach question on behalf of the attendees. What is everybody going to receive, and when will they get it? Because I tend to get a lot of emails about. Can you send me the slides or whatever it was?
Oh, the answer is it'll be a few days. We repurpose this and into something that looks a little bit nicer than just a Zoom meeting. It'll probably be the beginning of next week by the time everybody gets the recap email, and but we will send out the recap email to everybody.
A recording of the webinar and the handouts.
Yep, recording, webinar, handouts, everything. Everything. Not the presentation. We don't do the presentation because
I'd like to talk to Anonymous, but I don't know who he is.
I don't know either.
Marshy.
So Anonymous, put your information in so we know you're not anonymous. And that's
Dave,
a great
you let
question.
anonymous people into the video. I mean, this is a complimentary session.
This is a 12-step meeting.
So looking to connect with air filter suppliers, pre-approved MCRL filters. Timothy, that is a great question. Stick around. I'll show you a little bit about Sam Radar and how we can do that.
Definitely stick around. It's the after show is
It's Raj.
worth it. Yeah, 70 people stick around to the post, the Opry selling to the government show with Dave.
Yeah, you can stick around for a minute. While we're still finalizing that, just real quick, coming up on GovBrief. Let me get that back. Coming up on GovBrief is doing business with the VA and FEMA this week. Next week is sole source justification. And oh, by the way, that is really important if you want to start to carve out your own sole source justification just for you. And you don't have to be 8A. You don't have to use a socioeconomic set aside. All of these things can be done by us and part of our business development process to minimize that competition, and nobody else can play. It is absolutely fantastic. If you have any additional questions, do us a favor, pop it into the Q&A. I will end with this. Keys to federal. What's that? Great.
People late coming in. So if Zachary could populate with the information they're getting that he put earlier in the handout.
Oh, handouts.
Yeah, handouts. Zachary, if you could pop the handouts in, that'd be great. So keys to success, manage your expectations. It does not operate like the commercial world. If you're trying to do that, right, Rafa? If you are trying to run this like commercial, you will fail. Will you not?
That's right. I mean, you need to know exactly. I can't stress this enough. You have to have a good communication strategy. You must have a good communication strategy in order to communicate with this new large supply chain. Mm-hmm. Any organization admitting you into their supply chain as a vendor needs to evaluate and manage vendor risk management. And as a newbie, you are risk to the government.
That's a fact. And they don't like risk, which means they don't like you if you're new. So, but look like you belong. That's right up in your alley there, Raphael, and be proactive. Be persistent and persevere. Everybody wants you to quit. Everybody. They don't want to train you on it in the government, and they don't. If you don't belong, they want you to quit. So do not quit. Stay at it, and if you manage your expectations right. So if you're thinking, and I know everybody wants it, I want that contract in the next 30 days, right, Julie? We all want the contract in the next 30 days. We were literally talking to Chris Marin yesterday. 14 months he has spent on prepping the buyer and the program people on something that he's selling. And then he found out that they're going to put it out on a contract that he doesn't have. So he is teaming with somebody. That's exactly what you can expect. Don't give up. Do not give up. All right. I really appreciate everybody joining us. Rafa, always great. Greg's on fire. I mean, you set the bar this time, Greg. I'm telling you, man, you did it.
Good night's sleep.
Yeah, man. That's what happened. Did you go to, like, what is it, Holiday Inn Express or something? Rafa, always great. Appreciate you. Sally, thanks for being on the sidelines, being a cheerleader this time. We'll get you back in the hot seat soon. And Julie did a great job in the hot seat. If you'd like to stick around, we will talk about Sam Radar for a few minutes, only about another maybe 10 minutes max, because I got stuff to do and so do you. But if you want to stick around, we'll go ahead and start that. I'm going to end this poll. There's 14 folks that say they need something. You'll wind up being contacted by us. And Randall was clarifying the CMMC is Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's coming. If it's not already there, that's already.
Yeah, it's already there. That acronym we knew, FCI and CUI, we didn't know.
All right.
Thanks,
and
everybody.
Anonymous, let's see. I don't know. Can you have it for this week? You can certainly.
The recording.
Anonymous, if you can reach out to Greg directly, that'd be awesome. Or send me an email and I'll get it.
No, he wants the recording of this.
It's not happening this week.
Yeah.
It probably won't. If it does, it'll be a miracle. Because this is the freebie one. Everything else we do, we have it out in a couple of days, but this is the freebie one. But we'll get it to you. If you need anything in particular, reach out to us. You can reach out to me directly. I'll do what I can to get it for you. I'm new and ready to sign up. Please contact me to discuss in more detail. Michael, absolutely. Sign up on samradar.com. Appreciate that. Welcome aboard prematurely, but that's okay. We'll take it. Timothy Neal, looking to connect with air filters. That's right. We got that one. Stick around, Timothy. We'll talk. And if anybody else wants to stick around, that's great. We will. Let me pause that for a second. I'm going to go live.
I got to jump.
You got to jump. All right. Be that way.
I got to jump.
You gotta jump.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Cool. I'm gonna change this share so I go to here. And I'm going to show you a couple things. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. And if anybody who wants to stick around, we're going to be talking about Sam Radar specifically. And there's a couple of things that that I will do. I'm going to do a new share here. I want to share this screen. All right. So the first thing I want to show you is that Sam Radar comes in an email. When you sign up, it comes in email. And I'm going to resume this share. Let me see if this is right. Okay, so Sam Radar comes in an email. So why do we do email? Because that's where you live. You don't live in an app. Now, if you have to go into an app or you need to dive down in some additional information, there's a lot of things that you can do. I don't recommend that because that doesn't simplify your life. You want to simplify your life. You want to simplify your business development process. So that's why we built it. And I want to show you a couple of things very similar to what we talked about earlier in this. This is for $218,000. It happened yesterday. Hitachi Consulting Corporation and who is it? It's the agency is National Park Service. We'll get to some details in a minute. And I want to point this out. Number of offers received is 2. Remember, I said the vast majority of the contracts are 5 or fewer. That means that Hitachi Consulting Corporation knows Anel, and Anel knows Hitachi. She probably knows a couple of other folks too. But the most important thing that they need and you need is they need to know you. You need to proactively go out after Anel. And the way you do that, you have her email address, or you can just click this button right here. Let me clear that out for a second, and I'll show you how it works. It works just like this, where it pops up. It says, I would like to talk with you about the award to Hitachi Consulting Corporation. When? Yesterday. Yesterday. Is Anel going to remember that he or she awarded this to Hitachi Consulting Corporation yesterday? Yes. This is the simple part that Raphael was talking about of the mental real estate that we're after. We want them to help us. We want to connect to them so that they will help us. And the message is simple. We would like to talk about the award to Hitachi Consulting Corporation. Now we have some templates that you can use that we know have resulted in millions of dollars in sales. I've used them myself. Other folks in Sam Radar are using them. You get them as a Sam Radar user. And we're also going to be incorporated some pretty advanced things that are coming up. I'm not gonna blow that because it's coming up. So what we're after, again, we can reach out directly to the buyer. We also can reach out directly to the prime because it's already too late for this one, but there's $218,000 that Hitachi Consulting just won as a part of this contract. Now, as I mentioned, we may want to drive a wedge between these two folks. So what is your message to drive the wedge between those? Hey, I'm working on a similar project. Love to chat about that and get your insight on how this works. What is your preferred vehicle for doing that? Now, the other thing that you're going to find is you may find that there's $0 awards. And you might be saying, Dave, what the heck is that? What does that mean? Well, first things first, we're going to take a look at this. Number of offers received is 1. That means Eagle Health, it happened on 2/9. Here's Brittany with Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation. Oh, one other thing we have Brittany's phone number. So we can send her an email and we can make the phone call. We can also reach out because this looks like it's a definitive contract. It was modified to $0. Oftentimes, these are blanket purchase agreements. And this is for office support services. Maybe you can help with office support services. The NAICS code that is in is 541611, which is actually consulting services. So you have the ability to train this system for you. And every time the system sees this, it sends you what is most valuable to you. There's 20,000 plus contracts that get awarded every day. You're never going to see them. But which ones matter to you? You don't get paid to do the research. The system. You pay the system to do the research because it's going to determine what is best for you. And over the course of time, it's going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. So every day you have a lead with somebody like Brittany that you can say, hey, I'd like to talk with you about that award to Eagle that just happened just the other day. And that is the magic of Sam Radar. Now, I will tell you, in addition to that, Sam Radar includes sam.bid, which tells you as soon as something hits on sam.gov. So the question about air filters is twofold. First of all, most of the time for air filters, you're never going to see them on sam.gov because they're micro purchase. A lot of times they're doing P cards. They're never going to show there. But they may and probably will show up on Sam Radar, especially if you're monitoring the competitors in Sam Radar. There's magic around the whole thing. We want to simplify your process. All we want to do is make sure that you have something a lead that you can go after. So this happens to be a solicitation. This hit the street just today for engineering services. If you want to do work with the engineering services for the U.S. Army Engineering Support Center in Huntsville, Alabama, that's what this is. And watch this. Number one reason why people love this is if you click this, it takes you right into sam.gov. You didn't have to log in. That alone is the number one reason why people sign up for this. Now, what we also want to do is we want to be able to point out that right here is Erica White and Cynthia Jacobson. These are your contracting officers that you need to build that relationship with that Greg was talking about before. Those people happen to already be here. You don't even have to log in to sam.gov to see the primary contacts there. That's why we do it. We do it to simplify, to streamline, make sure that you have access to the information that you need so that you can get on the business of selling something. You don't get paid for federal research. And it's expensive. When you spend time researching the federal market, it is extremely expensive because you could be spending your time selling things. You could be spending time building relationships so people can buy, injecting yourself into the conversation so that they know who you are. That's your number one job. You have time to do this. Even this fiscal year, you still have time. It's Q2, still have time to build those relationships. You certainly have time to inject yourself into the conversation. Any questions about this? Because I am going to, as far as what we're doing with the other stuff, that stuff's done. Any questions? This is the opportunity side, which is the 2%, less than 2%. But what hits, everything that hits SAM.gov, you'll get here. The money pieces are here. This is where the system is going to explain to you what you're going to do every day. Simply click the button and pick up the phone and call the people. They're swimming in your pool. It's a different way of doing the market. It's a different way of doing things, but it's going to connect you exactly the way that Greg was talking about. One-on-one conversations with the people that have the money. You know they got the money because they're spending it with people. Here's one for $38,000 and change. Let's see if there's any real big ones. $260,000, again, 4 offers received. So that's getting up there a little bit. $34,000 with 4 offers received. See if we can find a nice, big, juicy one here. Oh, here's one. Here's one. And this happens to be on a Maytalk. So this is money, $3.5 million. What are the chances that Home Maintenance Group helped to set the budget at $3.5 million and hit that budget with who do we want to reach out to? Benjamin. You can reach out to Benjamin with the VA. We can also reach out to the Prime. And what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the award on 2/7 that Benjamin made to Home Maintenance Group. This is the simplification of the process. I'm hoping you see it. If you don't see it, get it, and then you will see it. SamRadar.com is easy to do. Let me show you how to get there. And what you want to do is go here, SamRadar.com, and there's a free trial. There's one more thing I want to point out. At the end of this month, this price is not going to be the same, and it won't be locked in anymore. Right now, sign up for $249. Everybody, we're meeting our goal for where we wanted to be before the price went up, and we are injecting more and more functionality that's going to help you connect with the key decision makers. Sign up today. Don't wait. Don't wait till the end of the month because it's going to be too late. You want to get signed up today. Try it. 7 days for free. Try it. If it's not right, we don't want it to be not right. We have to make it right for you. If it's not right, that's okay. Try it. Sign up today, and you'll get you'll be connected with Zachary, who's the Sam Radar federal advisor. And the most important thing is that you start to tune the system. The system won't work 100%. It's going to give you what you're asking. It's going to learn as you go. Give it another 90, 120 days. You will positively have leads every single day. And those leads are going to get better and better and better because your action items, your actionable intelligence will be there. Manage your expectations, and I'm telling you, it will work for you. So get signed up today, and we'll get you guys out of here. Appreciate you guys joining us. Thanks for everything. We will see you next time. Julie, I want to give another shout out to Julie because she was great. If you need to talk with anybody, let us know. Thanks for sticking around. Have a great rest of the week, guys. Happy Valentine's Day.